Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, I love my HBCU ? Community. It is yours truly, Tosin Richard, and I am joined by the lovely Vakoya Banks of Love the Hair You Wear. Vakoya, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. You know, I started the day, I did a puzzle. Trying to just woosah, find my zen side.
So even before we got on the recording, you and I were talking about our spaces and keeping ourselves in good spaces. And you just threw out there that you just did a puzzle. Give us your top 3 things that you go to make sure you retain your good space.
Oh, top 3 things. I have this relaxation playlist, and so really it's like kind of think of it as like music that you would probably hear in the spa. So I turn that on for sure. / gospel music. That usually puts me in a good space. Exercising, running, especially as of recently, it tends to just, I guess it gets the endorphins going, but I feel better after I run most of the time. And right now I'm gonna say puzzles because I have like this 500-piece puzzle that I started. It's from a brand called Be Rooted. You would probably like Be Rooted if you haven't heard of them. Black-owned business. They sell it in Target too, but they do planners. As a matter of fact, this is one of their planners. It says like take up space, like really beautiful artwork.
So they have like for the free promo right now.
Well, I love Be Rooted. I really do. So they also have like a 500-piece puzzle, and most of it is like beautiful artwork of Black women, different shades, that kind of thing. So I started putting those together, and it just forces me to kind of pay attention to what the details are on the picture. So I'm like slowing down. So I'm going to say those are my top 3. They kind of put me in like, okay, slow down. Let's take some breaths.
So I'm going to steal your last one. I'm going to steal that because I remember the minute you said it, I vividly remember 11-year-old and 13-year-old Tosin. I'm still pretty much of a loner and an introvert, but I was really a loner and an introvert when I was growing up. And so everybody's out of the house, and you'd think Tosin is about to, have fun, watch all the shows mom and dad don't allow you to watch when they're at home. No, Tosin will go and pick up the biggest puzzle, lay it out on my bedroom floor, and literally there's something you ended with. You said it forces you to pay attention to the details, and this is going to show you how quirky I am. As you were saying that, there was a calm that came over me. There's something about paying attention to the details that helps you turn off distractions from everywhere else. So thank you, Vakoya. I'm stealing that. And Be Rooted, I will be getting a puzzle from you, thanks to Vakoya Banks. But Vakoya, before we spend this entire episode with you shouting out all the Black businesses out there, I want us to talk about yours. Love the Hair You Wear. And I noticed that you are in a new hairdo, which I love. And I could literally just start talking about what Love the Hair You Wear means to me. And with your permission, I'd love to talk about that at some point. But I'd love you to tell us what inspired it, and what does it mean to you?
So, Love the Hair You Wear actually will be celebrating 10 years, probably by the time this airs. And so started in 2015, really was inspired by my natural hair care journey, just loving my hair the way that it came out of my scalp, which isn't always easy. So it's definitely kind of, I would say, like encouragement to everyone to figure out exactly. And when I say everyone, really, let me specify, it's encouragement to Black women to really figure out how to love your hair, which also transcends into, like, I feel like self-care and wellness and all those beautiful things that it takes to be your best self. How do I love my hair as it comes out of his scalp, out of my scalp, and the open conversation with other women to talk about how frustrating that can be sometimes, how it's a journey, how it's never ending. Like, you might figure out something that works for your hair and then enter a new stage. For instance, I just had, not just had, my daughter, she'll be 2, in 2025, like summer 2025. So, but that has ushered in a new era into my hair care space, because I have to really be mindful of my edges. If they are, experiencing some thinning and things that I've never experienced before. So I think throughout the different journeys of our life, my hair is going to enter different spaces. And so it's really just all about encouraging Black women to love the hair in the current stage that it is in, and all the different sides that looks like. Sometimes it's beautiful. Sometimes, you're like, oh, I love my hair. And sometimes you're like, I could cut it all off. And really, you could cut it all off. I mean, and that's fine too. So, but I like to think of us as a connector. We connect attendees with different brands, with full size products. And we also talk about different tools that might empower you to try to take a stab at taking care of your own hair, or being more comfortable with your hair care journey and not feeling like I'm so dependent on going to a cosmetologist every week, right? Because I definitely have a licensed cosmetologist that I go to, but I don't have to go every week. I can do some of my hair care at home and feel comfortable.
So I wrote down a lot of things while you were talking, and I'm again, with your permission, I'm actually going to tell you what love the hair you wear means to me.
Yes.
We're gonna have our own mini session here, because she does these sessions at different universities. So we're gonna have our own mini session here. So when I first of all heard it, I assumed what you meant, and the assumption is exactly what you just said. I almost never, no, I don't think anyone who's been around me within the last 5 years knows what my natural hair looks like.
Well, listen, these curls right here, they looking good. So,
But they're not growing out of my scalp, and
but they look very natural. I'm just
they
saying,
do.
like,
They do. And I think the reason why I don't mind talking about it is because I'm not embarrassed to say that it's not growing out of my scalp. I'm not embarrassed to say that anyone who knows me over the last 5 years probably does not know what my natural hair looks like. I'm not embarrassed to say any of that, because when you talk about love the hair you wear, for me, it resonates in a way that hair is such a personal and some are going to be like, really, Tosin? But it's how I feel. It can be a very spiritual thing for some of us. I know I have a couple of Jewish friends, and they're the ones that they actually you don't see their natural hair. So they have these wigs that they wear, especially the one they get married. They have these wigs that they wear that it covers their own natural hair that is only supposed to be seen by their husbands. Hair is such a important feature in a woman's life, and I'm a Black woman, so especially in a Black woman's life, that when I hear love the hair you wear, it's not that I need Vakoya Banks to give me permission, and not that any of us need Vakoya Banks to give us permission, but it's almost permitting you that whatever it is your hair is going through, and however you choose to adorn it in that moment in time, embrace it, love it, connect. You used the word connect earlier on. Connect with it, because you may not necessarily like it, but connect with it. That's what it means to me each time I actually hear love the hair you wear. So thank you, actually, for phrasing it that way. It could have been anything, but you phrased it that way intentionally. And you said that when you have these events, and I want you to talk about the one that you've had at North Carolina A&T, for example, because I've heard of how it resonates with the students there. And I know you spoke about the connection that you make with the students and the brands and the different entities that offer services. If you're allowed to, can you share a story or two of how it has resonated with a student, i.e., the sessions that you have at the university?
For sure. So, Love the Hair You Wear has been going on since 2015, annually, at least one event per year. But we started going to A&T. The first year was 2022. So fall 2024 was year 3. Amazing. We had 800 students RSVP, and Love the Hair You Wear, the student edition, definitely talks about hair care. We connect the students with different brands, but we also connect them with different companies for the opportunities to perhaps get an internship, or other opportunities that may flourish from that. So, but back to your question. When I came to when I had Love the Hair You Wear at A&T in the fall, we had all different kind of attendees that arrived, meaning some young women were just rocking their natural hair care. Their natural curls is beautiful. We had some people rocking their beautiful locks. We had some people rocking wigs. And I am not one that is saying that, listen, I have these extensions in my hair that it's fine with me. Like, I think that embrace all of it. And I told you when we talked earlier that I got into sew-ins this year. So I've tried 2 different sew-ins, and that's been a journey too. Just realizing what it takes to maintain the sew-in. But I like the sew-in, so I'm gonna get another one. I will say that. But I had actually Miss A&T, who she was a part of the event. She hosted or she moderated a panel that I had with a lot of really big social media influencers and people that are doing amazing things within their career. And they were talking about just being a Black woman and taking up space within their careers. And she moderated that panel. She did a great, excellent job. And she sent me an email afterwards, and she was just like, I loved your event, and I feel so really empowered to figure out how to rock my natural curls naturally, you know what I mean, and be confident in it, because it does take a bit. I know when I first transitioned into being in my back into my natural hair care route, like the natural curls and how they grow out of my scalp, you gotta try, and it's some trial and error. And sometimes I was doing some hairstyles that did not turn out the way that I intended for them to turn out. And so I really resonated with her email, because I was like, that's powerful, because, it takes some, again, trial and error. Like, and so, I really, just to even hear her say that's something that she's willing to try to do now is great, because with my sew-in, right, my curls was like way longer than what my natural curls are. So when I was rocking that for 2 months and I took it out, and I even found myself like, oh, I want my hair to be bigger. You know what I mean? But still, like, it's like I don't want to get into sewing so much that I don't want to, that I'm not comfortable with my natural curls, because I think that's important for me. Everybody is different. But I am at this space now where even I had my curls, I had them out for 3 weeks, and I was like, all right, time to put some protective styles back in there, because another thing that I find myself doing is, with my current lifestyle routine, full-time job, mom, wife, I love the hair you wear too, just trying to figure out space for all of that. Sometimes hair care does get to the back burner. Yeah. So those protective styles are really important for me, so that I'm not neglecting my hair.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I rambled so much that I got away from your original question.
No, but so you answered it. No. You answered it. Well, you answered it. You shared with us, which I think a lot of people are going to take away from this. And I think a lot more HBCUs should be knocking down your door. Hint, hint to me, it sounds like a perfect thing that every miss at an HBCU should call Vakoya Banks up and say, hey, listen, I think we should have, it invites an intimate space for the women to talk about their hair journeys in very safe spaces. So just hint, hint, I think they would resonate with it. So Vakoya, before I go, just like, I can go into the rabbit hole of hair like nobody's business, let me tell you. But before I do that, I do want to treat you with our rapid fire segment. I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you, and let's see what your responses are going to be. So 67 seconds on the clock. Describe your HBCU experience in one word.
One word. My HBCU experience, I'm going to say family. That's what I'm going to say.
Family. I hear that a lot. I love it. Ooh, ooh. If your time in college was a song, what would it be?
What would it be? Shoot, 2000. You said 67 seconds. I am just all over the place. The first song that comes to mind is "Rocking That Thing," Dream. So I'm gonna just say that because I
There we
love that
go.
song.
Rocking that thing. I don't even know the song, but rocking that thing.
You
talk
have
about.
heard it. She rocking that thing like you heard that song
I
before.
have. I have. Ooh, Vakoya, what would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
I wouldn't say anything because I was pretty close to like most of my roommates. So,
Nice.
and I'm the type to be saying the things. So,
Good for you. Say it all.
yeah.
Say it all. On a scale of 1 through 10, how good of a student were you?
I'm gonna say 8. I'm a pretty
8. I
good
love
student.
it. So I was just told that my time is up, but I always have to ask this question. Shout out your favorite professor or person at your HBCU, and what did they teach or what do they do?
My favorite professor. I feel like I have 2 that came to
Okay.
mind. Can I do 2?
Yes, of course.
They were both the School of Business too. So the first one that comes to mind is Dr. Morgan, and she just did not play any games. She taught some kind of, it might have been like business management. I don't even remember specifically what she taught, but I just remember that she was just no games, like, but also uh, still had a warm friendliness to her that made you feel welcome, make you feel like that you could talk to her. But I definitely remember Dr. Morgan, and I actually reached out to her one of the times that I came to A&T. We didn't get the chance to connect in person, but I definitely reached out to her. She remembered me. Then there was another guy. His name was Dr. Snar. Or was it Snare? No, it's Snar. Dr. Snar. He was a statistics teacher. Again, no games, but he really made for me statistics really interesting.
Wow.
And I remember I got like close to 100% in that class because I was just like locked in. I like stats anyway, but the way that he taught it, he had a way that he taught it that made it really like captivating for all the
I
students.
needed him. I needed him. I never, ever, ever got statistics. I had to use it. I was one of those that, and that's all through even grad school. I would literally memorize what I needed to memorize. And then when I was done, ask me a question and I became absolutely ignorant because I literally memorized it, dumped it all out of my system, and no. So I needed him. So Dr. Snare, thank you, because I needed you. I absolutely needed you.
Listen, it might be the way that my brain works because I have anxiety for sure. So sometimes even when I have like kind of, I feel like bizarre or out the way thoughts or things that probably aren't going to happen, I literally go back to what are the statistics of that happening, Vakoya? And then it kind of gets me back. So, yeah, I love statistics.
What a bad way to think about things in life and calm you down.
Right.
I like that. I really like that. Like, really, Tosin, are you really going to get struck by lightning today?
What are the
odds of that happening? Vakoya, tell us your college selection journey. Why North Carolina A&T?
So I'm actually from Greensboro.
Okay.
And if we're going to keep it very honest, I did not want to go to A&T because A&T is in Greensboro.
There we go.
But A&T ended up giving me the most money. And I remember when it was me and my parents kind of decided like what school I was going to go to because I applied to like 5 schools, most of them being HBCUs. But A&T like gave me the most money. So my dad was like, you should stay at home. And I was like, absolutely not. Like if I'm going to go to school at A&T, which is in Greensboro, my hometown, then I'm at least going to stay on campus. So ended up going to A&T, and it was the absolute best decision for me. Like I can't imagine I know I would be a different person if I didn't go to A&T.
If you didn't go.
It's like, it's family. And what's really funny is when I went to school, I mean, I'm gonna age myself, but whatever, like, because getting older is a blessing. I went in 2005, the fall of 2005, and HBCUs weren't highly praised as they are, I feel like now. Like, now it's like oh yeah, you're going to HBCU, great. But back then it was kind of like, oh, you're going to HBCU,
Yeah.
like like that. So, but as I went through A&T throughout the years, it was just like, it just got better and better, and it really is like a family feel. Anytime you go back to homecoming, it's a double win for me because I'm from Greensboro, so I end up seeing a lot of people that I literally grew up with. So, the story is, I went there because they gave me the most money. That's the story.
Long story short, they gave you more money. So if you recall, when I asked you that question, you said, well, I'm from Greensboro. The reason why I always ask that question no matter what is you'd be not surprised, because even you did not want to go to North Carolina A&T because you're from Greensboro. And sometimes you don't want to be that close to home when it comes to you finding yourself. So it's
absolutely
always interesting.
Yeah, my husband, he's from DC. And he was the same way. He's like, I'm not going to Howard because I'm not staying here. But I mean, I think my main thing was I didn't want to.
Did he end up going to Howard?
No, he went to A&T. We actually met each other at A&T. We didn't start dating until like way later, but we met each other at A&T. We knew each other at A&T. But yeah, his dad went to Howard. He was like, I'm not going to Howard because I live here. But I mean, I think part of it was I just didn't want to stay in Greensboro for forever, and that didn't happen. I graduated and I moved to DC, and this is where I live now.
Lovely. I absolutely love it. I because you're right, the likelihood of audiences hearing this recording is probably going to be in 2025. However, it's November. We're recording this in November. She knows where I'm going. She knows where I'm going. We're recording this in November 2024. We are two Black women. We've just had a monumental event occur in the first week of November. It would, whatever that statement is going to be chosen. How do you feel? And I invite you intentionally to be more hopeful than not, even as you're giving me your answer. How do you feel that not only was the presidential election what it became for all of us, but it wasn't even a close race by the end of the day when it comes to all these counts and everything we were all paying attention to? What are your thoughts?
I feel like I have to be careful with my thoughts. I feel like I can't really
say how you really feel.
I can't
Vakoya, remember you just said to me, I asked you, what would you have told your college roommate but didn't? And what did you say? And I'm proud of you for saying it. I said,
I do say the things. I also have a full-time job where I can't be I can't be biased or really say my real thoughts.
I respect that. And because I respect that, I'm going to have us pivot from that question intentionally. I'm going to have us pivot from that question intentionally and ask you a different one.
Okay.
In 2025, what issues matter to you the most as a citizen? And what issues do you hope the next president will pay attention to?
What I will say, when you asked how I feel, I will say that I feel like Love the Hair You Wear is even more important to pursue right now. It really, because I've had different emotions, which I feel like a lot of people have, and I've really tried to I'm trying to give myself space to feel my emotions, not trying to rush through them, if that makes sense. But I will say, we're in week 2, going on 3 of this. And with feeling that space and those emotions, one thing that I did realize, I was like, wow, like this message, this space for Black women is even more important than I even knew that it was. And instead of getting in the space of, because we were talking about HBCUs, right? HBCUs have been, I want to say, more so popular in the past couple of years. So getting the sponsorship to support Love to Hear You Wear at A&T has been popular. So one of my mindsets was like, that's probably going to shift in this next administration. How does it go on? And that just goes into my faith, where I was just like, well, what God has for me, like no man can shut no man can shut that door. Like whatever God has for, I know the vision that he's placed on my heart. So whatever he has is like, even if I can't see how it's going to happen, I still have faith that it's going to happen. So I say all that to say what is very important to me is to continue to have this space, especially for young Black women, so that they feel, not even feel, so that they know that like you are powerful. Like anything that you want to accomplish, like it is within your reach. It's going to take hard work, very hard work. But it's within your reach. And so the message must continue is how I feel. And so like it's been at A&T. So I really do want to take it to other HBCUs like you were talking about. Because I feel like now more than ever.
And you're in DC,
like,
so we've got Howard, we've got
yeah.
Bowie, we've got Morgan, we've got Coppin, we've got UDC, we've got University of Maryland Eastern Shore. We've got quite a few around you to start off with.
Right. So it's definitely possible. And so now I just put my head down. Like next week we start again. We start me and the team. I have some amazing people that I work with. Shout out to my line sister Brittany Hicks. Like she is just always I'm excited to even talk to her about how we can try to expand. But we put our heads down and we build, and we try to expand and pitch it to people and pitch it to these schools and make it happen. So yeah, I'm feeling all my feelings. I'm doing the things like you were talking about, like we were talking about what things are we doing? What have I been intentional about doing? I've been intentional about making sure meditation is a part of most of my days. Whereas before, I would do it here and there. Now it's like, no, girl, you need to meditate. You need to drain out the noise, because I feel like it's a lot of noise. Even getting on social media right now seems, especially for me and like anxiety, it seems very just like, almost like doomsday. Like when you get on there, it's like boom, boom. It's really just a lot of information. It's a lot of noise. So I think what's going to be really important for me moving forward is draining out the noise and probably limited it a little bit. Like I can't constantly look at bad news or things that are portraying bad news and all these things and think that I'm going to feel good. Like that's just not. That's not going to happen. And then maybe some of it is me being ignorant and not paying attention to everything that's going on, because I just can't. I can't. I don't know. How about you? How about you, Tosin? How are you doing? How are you doing in this current space?
I am an extremely hopeful human being.
Yay! I love
really
that.
am. If you remember, we were speaking before we even started recording, and I'm always in a good space. I'm always in a good space, no matter what it looks like to the outside world. I'm always in a good space. And a couple of the things that you said resonate, and part of me remaining in a good space sometimes requires blocking out the stuff that will rob you of that good space. And we know what those things are. We do. But sometimes we get a little nosy. Sometimes we get a little curious. And it's a rabbit hole. And the rabbit hole kind of drags you down. And I don't like being dragged down. I know what my own disorders are that feed off of being dragged down. So I'm very, very careful that, okay, Tosin, no. Let's revert right back to being in this space that works well for you.
Oh,
So,
I
yeah,
love that, Tosin. So is that like a routine? Is that like like when you get up, you probably don't reach for your phone first thing in the morning?
No way. No way. No way. When I when I wake up in the morning, and this is not supposed to be about me. This is supposed to be about Vakoya.
But
When
I mean, it's helping me. I need to hear that because some of me is
okay,
just like when I say I've been limited social media, I've been limited in. And then some of
okay,
me feels like, oh, but what if you miss something that's important? But it's like constantly when I get on it, then I just feel kind of,
it's too
I'm,
much.
yeah, it feels like
It's
a
too
lot.
much.
Yeah.
My devotional, the way my day starts matters to me a whole heck
Hmm.
of a lot. I wish I was like the Oprahs of the world. I'm not gonna lie. I heard that Oprah gets up in the morning. I don't know how true this is. It's just what we've heard. She
Right.
gets up in the morning and before her feet touch her slippers, I imagine they're like fluffy, silky slippers. But before her feet touch her slippers, she has said at least 5 things that she's grateful for. And
Mm.
I wish I strive to be that. I want to be grateful for more minute things in my life, because she says it's not big things, sometimes it's small things. That's not how my day starts. That's how I want my day to start. But I do start my day with a devotional. My brain is so overactive, Vakoya, and overactive not in that way that people think is exciting, overactive in that way that could take you down a slightly dark place if you're not careful. And
Hmm.
so for me, it's extremely important that, okay, Tosin, what are we setting our intentions on from the very beginning of the day? That's how I start my day.
I
What it
love that.
helps me do is whenever the day now starts to get away from me, it helps me go back. Okay, let's go back. I'm very big on let's go back to what you fed yourself with this morning, as opposed to just letting the world take you wherever the heck it wants to take you. That's not very healthy for me. Some people are okay, and I guess they thrive on that. I don't thrive on that. So I
I
hope that
love
helps.
that.
I hope
And
that
you do
helps a
that
little.
because I think what kind of for me that was kind of get I was like I'm gonna have to do this every morning. That's what I was thinking because sometimes I get up and I look at my phone first thing, but like now I am doing more of like okay the devotionals, the gospel music, the let's not even see what's going on right now. Let's get the kids to school before you even you know what I mean. You have even tried to check in on what went down last
But
night.
Vakoya, listen to what you just said. You. I heard 2 things from what you just said, right? The first thing I heard was a little bit of a strain. Am I really gonna have to do this every morning? But then you also then mentioned something that you did every morning habitually without realizing it, and that's reaching for your phone. You never thought about it. You just did it immediately because it
Mm-hmm.
became a habit for you. So if this other thing becomes a habit, one day you're going to wake up and it's going to feel strange if you don't do it. If I don't reach for my devotional in the morning, I feel so like literally I'm off. I'm literally off. So, hey,
Blessings. That's actually a blessing to know that. Yeah, you. Thank you. So thank you, Toby.
I was going to share something that my sister in law shared with me recently when you talked about the news. And when she said it, I was like, girl, but now I'm looking at me like, Tosin, you might want to steal a little bit of what she does. I have a sister-in-law who refuses to tune into the news. It sounds ignorant, but she refuses to tune into the news.
Oh, me too. I don't
She
look
said,
at
there we go. She said,
it.
Tosin, I'm sorry. Most of what the news wants to give me is bad.
Negative.
It's just so negative. And Vakoya, you said something earlier. You said it's what you take in that's going to come out. And she said, if this is all I'm taking in, no wonder I'm frantic. No wonder I have high anxiety. No wonder I think I have functioning depression. I may not even have all of these things, but
Right.
look at what I'm feeding myself with consistently. So that's the issue. Um,
You're feeding
I
it to me today.
oh
Thank
Father
you.
Lord, this is not supposed to be about me.
No. But I mean, it is important to even because I mean, even for me, I'm kind of taking a pause on not love the hair you wear because I love the hair you wear, but like, what do I
Absolutely.
have the energy to do every day? You know,
Yes,
and it's
yes,
okay
yes.
if that takes a back seat for a minute, or if just kind of just being quiet and being still
Yes.
is what I'm
Yes.
doing right now, you know, because
Yes.
it's noisy outside. It's noisy everywhere. And even in my space, like, you know, if I'm dropping my kids off for school, or like, you know, do they have their lunch? Do they have all those different things? It's like constantly like, I'm in a caregiver role, which is beautiful, but it's also like, is there time to just be? So
Absolutely.
that's currently what I've been doing like this whole week. Like, after I exercise, get them kids to school, do my work at my job. Listen, I'm
Breathe.
being quiet, or I'm putting that
Breathe.
puzzle together. That's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Breathe. Vakoya, when you think about you mentioned something that internally we're all talking about, and by internally I mean at HBCUs.
Uh-huh.
You I hope you're wrong. I hope a lot of us are wrong, but you said that Love the Hair You Wear literally got more funding and sponsorships during a time when more of a spotlight was being shed on HBCUs, and we're all wondering what is going to happen within the next, a few years when
Right.
there's a little bit more scrutiny with regards to the funding that goes to different HBCUs. What challenges do you think what advice would you have for those in the HBCU space? And this is a heavy question to ask you, so I apologize ahead of time. I do.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Uh,
she's like, oh gosh, where's she going with this?
Listen, I'm trying to listen to the question.
What advice do you have for all of us, for Love the Hair You Wear, for HBCUs, for entities that have decided that their purpose is to serve these spaces? What's your advice to navigate some of the negativity that will be coming our way? It's already been coming. We've heard of some of the interesting text messages that some people got post election. What's your advice on navigating that and staying aligned on purpose?
Ooh, that's a good question. When you said that, one thing that came to mind is during pitching season for me, which is usually like the beginning of the year. And when we pitch, what it is for me, what I found with sponsorship is really important is actual relationships that I have with different people. I have gotten some sponsorships just based off of emails, but that's been rarer when it comes to how, based off of the sponsorship that I've gotten based off of relationships.
Yeah.
Meaning that, of course, Love to Hear You is a legitimate business and there's reasons to support it.
Absolutely.
But when you have a relationship with someone that might be able to even vouch for why Love to Hear You Wear should be at your HBCU, that really does make more of an impact as opposed to someone that you do not have a relationship with that is pitching it.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to pitching season, though, I get rejected a lot. Love
We
to
all
Hear You Wear
do.
gets rejected, right? And rejection is not a good feeling. And
No.
so what I tend to do during that season is just try to feed more into myself, like more of the taking care of myself, the acknowledgement that maybe I might be feeling more off because I just received 5 no's back to back.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we see when people, the yeses for people, but we don't see the no's. So I would say I get a lot more
Girl.
no's than I do yeses. And to expand on that, I think that we're probably about to, and I don't know. I can't tell. Nobody can know for sure, but all the signs are indicating that we're probably going to come upon a season within HBCUs that we're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. But with that being said, the why is really important. So like if I go to, I think for me that's probably going to look like looking back into, anytime I look at, and I've been telling myself I need to add this to my website, the past events that we've done, even looking at pictures or videos or that kind of thing. And to me, that kind of, I'm able to feel the feeling of the event, which is like the feeling when you're at Love the Hair You Wear is just like empowerment.
Yeah.
It's just and it's truly empowerment, because I know sometimes people say that they have empowering events, but it really is about like, I know 3 students that have had internship interviews, or they're going to have an internship this coming summer, and it's based off the relationships and them talking to people that love the hair you wear. So that alone is just like, wow, okay. Or a fellowship, they got a scholarship in addition to the scholarship that we provided. So I think for me, it's going to look like I'm having to go back to that and fill myself up more with that to fit. This is the why. This is the why. And the no's aren't personal. You know what I mean? They're not personal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is a business decision. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for a business to,
Absolutely.
to do that. One of my main questions that I've been asking people even last year with the sponsorship is, what's your return? What's a good return on investment for you? So what is your company, looking to what would make sense for you all
Absolutely.
to continue our relationship? You know what I mean? So I think for me, it's going to be having to go back to the whys. I don't have the answers for everyone, but for me, I think it's going to be more of what you're saying, drowning out the noise, focusing in on why this mission is even more important than it ever has been, and why it needs to continue, because those safe spaces for Black women, for whatever your audience is, whatever your why is important now. It's always been important, but it's really important now. Like, you know what I mean?
Vakoya, you said that's not going to be it may not be what works for everyone, but I actually think it is. I think if all of us go back to remembering, why do we do this? Why are we doing this? And it's not necessarily just knowing our why to convince everybody else, but knowing our why to remind ourselves of the purpose of what we're doing. And hopefully that will align with these others that are supposed to be partnering with us in a lot of our mission of what we're doing. Vakoya, this has been amazing. And I appreciate you giving of your time. Got a couple more questions for you before we go, though.
Okay.
I want you to finish this sentence for me. Because of my HBCU, I will not.
Because of my HBCU, I will not. When you said that, the words that came to mind is like, I'm not gonna stand in the way of anybody having an opportunity, if that makes sense. So like, and
I love that.
yeah, because I sometimes feel like sometimes people can be gatekeepers. Sometimes
Yes.
people can be. It can be really easy to kind of be like, oh, I worked so hard to get maybe this list of 20 sponsorship people to reach out to, so I need to gatekeep it. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, you put your time in, and I put my time in to figure out how to get to X, Y, and Z. But if the right people come along that need, that need like, we have interns that have been a part of the Love to Hear You Wear team. They come to me and they need anything, I'm an open book. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to be like, because I spent 2 years trying to figure out X, Y, Z, that you necessarily need to spend 2 years to do it. So I'm not going to gatekeep. I'll say that.
I love it. I will not gatekeep opportunities for others. I absolutely love that. That is so important. Vakoya Banks, you are an amazing human being. You remind us that we need to take a minute and breathe. At least you reminded me that, and I know you're going
You reminded me that.
I'll take
it.
So
we needed each other today. I love it.
We did. This is our recording time today was in the stars, because we probably both needed this. Not probably. I know I needed it, and you're telling me you did. So we definitely both needed this today. And something tells me when our audience hears this, they're going to walk away asking themselves, what's my why? Let me connect back to my why. And they're also going to tell themselves, it's going to be okay, and I just need to breathe through it. So, Vakoya Banks, Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I am looking forward, since you live in DC, I'm looking forward to Love the Hair You Wear popping up at any one of the 6 collective HBCUs in the Maryland, DC area, because that would be absolutely amazing to
Oh
actually see one of
yeah,
these
for
in real
sure.
life. But why don't you leave our audience with a parting word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs?
Well, I mean, I love all HBCUs, especially A&T,
Right?
because I know that, like I said before, I would be a different person if I wouldn't have went to that illustrious institution. So, and I think what it's kind of taught me though is that whole, when I said family, I really do feel like it's a family. Like it, and it really does feel like, you know, you have Aggie alum, they're going to look out for you. And it's going to be without expectations of anything in return. Just that you do that for the next Aggie. You know what I mean? And not even just Aggie, next HBCU person, next person that, you know, looks like you, because that's really important to pave those ways and give those opportunities. So I love HBCUs because it's a family. That's
It's
why.
a family.
We're
Thank
family.
you.
We gotta do for each other. And so thank you. I know we're sorors. We're you know, we got a lot in common. I think we're going to work together in the future, like you've already said. So I'm really gonna get your contact information.
Lakoya Banks, thank you. And to the audience, thank you for tuning into I Love My HBCU ? It is impossible, and I mean it, it is impossible for you not to like this episode. Thanks to Vakoya, proud alumna of North Carolina A&T University.
Right. Aggie Pride. And I realized I didn't even mention our website. So please check out our website at lthyw.com. That stands for Love the Hair You Wear. And if you are looking to support, I'm gonna claim it. We're trying to do an HBCU tour next year. If you're looking to support our HBCU tour, please hit us up, lthyw.com. Info at lthyw.com. We're looking forward, and we're going to claim a great 2025 where we are making differences and impacts in these young students' lives, giving them career opportunities, pairing them with the empowerment tools to take care of their hair care journey, but also their wellness journey, and make sure that they're having amazing careers out here.
It is going to happen.
So
You've claimed it. It's going to happen. Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst, of course, holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.